It's up through North Florida now and will sweep across our area later tonight, and a big drop in temperatures once again. A snuggle alert in effect for South Florida, falling into the 40s everywhere later tonight. There's the front right there, just north of Tampa, cutting into the Gulf of Mexico, and it's all tied into that big winter storm that's moving up into the northeast. Now, we still have some rain on the radar, and we're going to be dealing with that as we head through the evening hours. A pretty good cell working toward Okeechobee here. Could get a couple rumbles of thunder. We had some lighter rain work along the coastline earlier. Current temperatures are in the 60s and low 70s, but we're going to see a 25 to 30 degree temperature drop overnight. We'll get into the low 50s in South County. West Palm tonight will be in around the mid 40s, 45 to about 49 in Lake Worth. A little farther north, it's low to mid 40s through Jupiter and the Gardens. West Palm looking at about 45, 44 in Loxahatchee, and 30s expected around Okeechobee tonight. Not as cold as our last cold snap a few days ago, but there'll be a chill in the air, especially when you head out the door early tomorrow morning. How long will this one last? I'll have your forecast into the weekend coming up.
Steve, thanks much. Live pictures from Palm Beach International Airport. More than 2,000 flights nationwide have been canceled. What will the ripple effect be here? We'll wait and see for that. Fox 29's Christina Noce live from PBIA with more. Christina.
Well, if you take a look right now, you'll see the airport isn't very busy, and that's because a lot of travelers got the news bright and early this morning that most of the flights, especially to the northeast, are canceled. Cities like New York are already covered in white and are expecting up to a foot of snow. Now, right now, about 12 to 15 departing flights at this airport are canceled, especially to New York City, Baltimore, D.C., and even some flights to Houston. Many flights are still on schedule to arrive, though, in West Palm, but we are starting to see some delays for flights later this evening, so those could turn into cancellations. Flights coming out of the Fort Lauderdale airport are also seeing about 25 to 30 flight cancellations already. And one thing that you really want to do if you're traveling is to make sure that you're constantly looking at your airport and airline's website, because all of those are going to change. What's scheduled now or delayed could turn into a cancellation. You also want to make sure that you like the social media, Facebook and Twitter pages for your airport and your airline. That's where you're going to get the most up-to-date information. We're live in West Palm Beach. Christina Noce, Fox 29 News.
Much of the Midwest and Northeast bracing for that nasty bout of snow and frigid weather. The storm could bring the most snow the D.C. area has seen in 3 years. Drivers experienced hazardous conditions during morning commutes. Hundreds of schools are closed. The storm expected to hit much of the Midwest and Northeast with big snows, winds, and what will feel like or be sub-zero temps. In New York City, the first snow coming down this morning.
I'm really not looking forward to the cold and the snow.
Back in the nation's capital, as you got to look live at the White House there, blanketed by the weather. Federal workers have been told to stay home around that region. Snowplows and emergency vehicles are monitoring conditions. The snow is supposed to stop falling late tonight or early tomorrow, but there won't be a lot of relief from the cold temperatures expected to last at least until Saturday. Turning out to be a record year for snow in Cincinnati. Areas around Cincinnati, about 5 inches of snow they received today, a record for snowfall on this date. And that's not the only snow record so far this season. Total 27.4 inches, nearly 5 inches higher than the average snowfall for, get this, an entire winter. Today's snow prompted schools to cancel classes, and there's growing concern about the number of days students have missed so far this year. Here at home, ranchers keeping an eye on the mercury and the others on their herds. The Adams Ranch, west of Fort Pierce, one of the largest cattle ranches in the country. President Mike Adams says the cattle are hardy and they can withstand colder temps. He says the plan ahead for the winter is by letting the pasture grass grow in the summer, so they're all ready. But the concern is if there's frost on the ground, it could kill some of the grass the cattle feeds on.
We haven't had any frost until the middle of January. That's actually very unusual for us, so we're really happy with the way this winter's going.
A reminder, despite our cold fronts, they're just a small taste of the real stuff up north, so good news there. Adams says the large number of tree hammocks on the ranch help because they can prevent frost from forming underneath. Stay with Fox 29, WFLX.com for continuing coverage of the winter storm and the cold weather moving across the country and a bit of it into our area. Now to breaking news out of Texas, where Fort Hood authorities say a man and 2 children were found dead in a home on an Army base. They'd only say there is no threat to the base. There's no word on whether the man and the children are related. We'll follow this breaking news, and we'll have an update as soon as more information comes out of Fort Hood to us. Now to a developing story. Detectives say they're interviewing a son who shot his father at their home just off Military Trail near Summit Boulevard. Fox 29's Brian Enton live outside the apartment complex where he talked to investigators. Brian?
Michael, investigators say that this father is expected to survive. The neighbor is telling me that he was shot in the side and also in the leg. I want you to look right now because the crime scene investigators are back out here at the house. They just went inside the apartment where this allegedly happened. You see that open door? It is number 692. Neighbors say a normally quiet father and son live in this Neal Street apartment complex.
You never hear nothing out of them. So it's unbelievable.
Unbelievable, but deputies say this son shot his dad after a heated argument. Michelle Shia's fiance was just feet away.
He said he heard shootings next door and seen a guy run out the door, and then they caught the guy that did the shooting, and now they're just that the whole house is roped off and everything.
Witnesses say the son ran out the back door of the apartment and surrendered to police in this area next to the Toyota dealership along Military Trail. Violence so close to home has neighbors on edge.
Well, I want to move out.
Not releasing the names of this father or son, but they say charges in this situation are pending. Another interesting thing, they confirm right now that they are looking into whether or not mental illness was a factor in all of this. We're going to get into that coming up on News Channel 5 at 6 o'clock. For now, live in suburban West Palm Beach, Brian Enton, Fox 29 News.
Business leaders are considering the latest announcements from the mayor of West Palm Beach. The city plans or hopes to name a Flagler financial district across several blocks in the city. Fox 29's Ashley Walters has the latest from the convention center.
The cleanup has started here at the Palm Beach County Convention Center after Mayor Jerry Moyo's State of the City address. One of the biggest announcements today, this branding campaign, the Flagler Financial District. It will stretch from Flagler to Okeechobee, Rosemary to 6th. The whole idea behind this is to really support the financial businesses that are here and also attract some new ones. Mayor Moyo says the biggest challenges could be to meet the demands of growth and also stay true to the vision for the city. That means that the city will have to follow through with a charter school, arts supporting, and also economic development incentives. So we will be hearing a lot more about this in the year to come. Here in West Palm Beach, Ashley Walters, Fox 29 News.
We want to know, do you think the Flagler Financial District's a good idea to bring more business to the area? Text yes or no to 29,000. Join the conversation. Log on to WFLX.com and click the Facebook link. In less than an hour, commissioners will vote on the proposed condo project for the waterfront to be built, at least the proposal goes, on the current site of the Chapel by the Lake on South Flagler Drive. And there's been a big hue and cry on both sides of this. The developer unveiled new designs of the condo project this month. One, a 22-story building, the other, a narrow 26-story structure. Still ahead, a beautiful and unusual home is for sale in Florida. We'll show you how it comes with a price tag, a high one, and a built-in roommate. Also coming up, the reason First Lady Michelle Obama is showing off her basketball skills with some of the Miami Heat players. Gene, I'm fighting a little cold. I'm going to take off the second and third blocks if that's okay. Good, good.
4, 3, 2.
Now to a developing story. Fish and Wildlife Commission investigators say they'll re-interview a diver hit by a boat Sunday off the coast of Palm Beach. The free diver, Jorge Caba, you see him there, remains at St. Mary's Medical Center recovering from surgery to his leg. He suffered a broken pelvis as well. Investigators will meet with him in the hospital tomorrow as they try to track the boater who hit Caba and allegedly took off. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-458-TIPS. Developing out of southwest Florida, 5 whales have now died over the last several days. Authorities found the latest dead whale this morning, the 5 part of a pod of 24 whales found stranded near Naples. Researchers do not know what caused the death or the strandings of these pilot whales. This yellow Victoria home in Punta Gorda is up for sale with a big price tag. But that's not what is scaring buyers. The couple selling the home say a 14-year-old, this is a gruesome, serious note, was killed inside the home long ago. And if you're afraid of ghosts, they say don't be. They say living there was fun, quote.
It's a great view, and it's just a great place to be. And to have a little perpetual 14-year-old teenage girl playing tricks on you, that's kind of fun.
She's really not like scary. She just makes noises, so sometimes I've told her, you need to be quiet.
So do you believe in ghosts? They apparently do. If that doesn't spook you, the price might. The haunted house is on the market for more than $1.5 million. It's not just VCRs we no longer use. Coming up, we'll let you know, thanks to new technology, many other items we used 10 years ago that are on the way out.
Big changes on the way for South Florida. Still some rain on the radar. Much colder tonight. Your forecast coming up.
New at 4, some homeowners are turning to unconventional ways to try to sell those homes. Whisper listings or pocket listings are gaining popularity in South Florida. That's when people sell their homes without officially listing them on the MLS. It's one way to keep the sale private and somewhat exclusive, but realtors say you have to be patient.
We really don't want people that just want to look at the house, just to see the house. There's a lot of lookers out there. We want qualified, serious buyers only.
Realtors say when the housing market inventory is low, prices tend to rise. Sellers do a whisper listing, hoping to find someone who's willing to pay more for their home. Many things considered essential 10 years ago are now in the dustbin after becoming obsolete due to new technology like smartphones and tablets. You probably have your own list, but look at this one that consumer reporter John Matarese shows us about a number of things now gone, so you don't waste your money.
More than half of all American homes still have at least one VCR, even though they never use them anymore. VCRs were cutting-edge technology 20 years ago. They're now no longer made. And there are other consumer tech items that could be headed the same way.
Before you head into Best Buy to pick up a gadget you think you need, you may want to check to see if you still really need it. MarketWatch.com lists a number of things you no longer need due to changing technologies. They include GPS devices. Your phone or car now does the same thing. DVD or Blu-ray players being killed off by streaming video. 2-year cell phone contracts as more and more carriers go contract-free. Landline long-distance calls. Long distance is essentially free on your cell phone. And desktop computers, unless your job requires it. But from the Doesn't That Stink file, some things becoming obsolete that many of us will miss. Clock radios? Does your smartphone really replace it? Yellow pages. Sometimes you just miss the big book. And speaking of books, bookstores. When your local one closes, you'll say, "Doesn't that stink?" Hopefully, some will remain open well into the future.
Some of these items could still be around in 20 years. After all, many of us still have home videos on VHS tapes, so we want our old VCRs. But remember, technology is constantly changing, and sometimes you need to change with it, so you don't waste your money. I'm John Matteries, Fox 29 News.
Covering America now, one person's dead, another in custody following a shooting at Purdue University in Indiana. Purdue University confirms the victim is male. The shooting was first confirmed via Purdue's official Twitter account. It happened in the electrical engineering building. New Jersey Republican Governor Chris Christie officially began his second term in office today. With his family by his side, the governor raised his right hand and recited the oath of office.
It is an oath that I've lived by for the last 4 years, and it is the oath I will live by for every day I am privileged to call myself your governor.
His second term, though, comes amid growing questions and controversies surrounding the so-called Bridgegate scandal, accusations that his administration withheld funding and that some of his aides, in political retribution for a mayor who didn't support Christie's re-election bid, slowed traffic at a key bridge. During his address, Governor Christie said he has a mandate to stay the course. The celebration's been scheduled for later tonight, but now that's been canceled due to bad weather. When the Miami Heat visited the White House last week, First Lady Michelle Obama came into the diplomatic room to rattle the rim.
And you can take it from me. Eating the right foods can help make you a better athlete.
The 2013 NBA champs were the apple of the First Lady's eye, munching fruit, extolling the virtues of eating healthy and drinking plenty of water. First Lady has made that clear. She's photobombing there. Is that what they call that? My young floor director here, he's like, no, but all of this for a great cause. They're trying to make sure people eat right, and that's been a big drive by the First Lady, all part of a public service announcement for the First Lady's Let's Move campaign, promoting exercise and eating fruits and vegetables to combat obesity. Funny video. Covering the world now, the White House announcing President Obama will meet with Pope Francis for the first time on March 27th. That meeting will take place at the Vatican. President Obama's visit with the leader of the Roman Catholic Church will be part of a larger European trip. The White House says the president looks forward to discussing with Pope Francis their shared commitment to fighting poverty and growing inequality. With the Olympic Games 3 weeks away, hundreds of thousands of tickets for the Sochi Olympics are still unsold. A number of factors could be discouraging foreign visitors. Those include concerns about security, expensive travel costs, and the difficulty in obtaining visas. Potential visitors could also be turned off by the controversy over Russia's law banning, quote, gay propaganda. According to the Associated Press, about 300,000 tickets are still available. McDonald's launches a way to cheer on Olympic athletes. As they head to Sochi, you can head to cheersochi.com, send personalized messages of good luck and encouragement. The messages or cheers will be on special display in the Olympic Village. Athletes will have plenty of chances to see them.
All right, we're going to take you up north first. It is a winter wonderland. D.C. and New York getting hammered by this big winter storm. New York could see upwards of a foot of snow before it's all said and done. It is a tricky travel commute today. And this is all part tied to the cold front that's going to sweep across South Florida as we head into tonight and early tomorrow morning. Okay, here's a look at what's going on across South Florida. It is a whole lot different. Temperatures today getting up into the mid and high 70s. The front that's all tied to that system is actually draped all the way up into the Carolinas now and stretches all the way back down cutting across Jacksonville and then eventually into the Gulf of Mexico. Now it is moving south, so as it moves into South Florida later tonight, we'll get that big blast of cool air. In fact, it'll be downright cold in a few spots, but ahead of it, some showers have been popping up in some areas of rainfall. There's a really good cell there working in toward Okeechobee. Some gusty winds with this, 35, 40 miles an hour possible. Some heavy rainfall. Doesn't look like it'll last too long, but Okeechobee, we're watching that one for you. Along the coastline at 60s and low 70s. So a little bit of a soggy start, but much colder overnight and a lot drier too as our dew points and our humidity really drop in through midnight and shortly after. There's a look at North County temperatures overnight. Not quite as cold as it was earlier in the week and last week. And for most spots, we should be fine as far as plants are concerned. Always bring your pets inside. They feel the cold too. And there'll be a northwest wind tonight at about 10 to 15. So that actually makes it feel a little bit colder with that wind chill. But you can see 40s all the way up into Vero and Sebastian. So we're just above that criteria for really, really cold, damaging weather as far as plants are concerned. 62 the daytime high on Wednesday. That is cold. And there'll be a pretty good wind too. We're up to 70 on Thursday, so we rebound quickly and we stay just about where we should be this time of year on Friday and Saturday. The real cold stuff, the cold Arctic air, is on the eastern half of the country, and that's really helping fuel this storm system as it moves up in toward New England. Now the front makes its way through just after midnight. That's when our shower chances will end, and much colder and clear tomorrow. It'll be a lot of sunshine, but it's not going to help our temperatures at all. Northwest winds for boaters, these 2 to 4 Palm Beach County, 3 to 5 on the Treasure Coast. But obviously boaters, as you head out the inlets, it's going to be much higher offshore over the Gulf Stream. So 45 tonight. That'll be late overnight though. This evening temperatures will fall, and by about 9, 10 o'clock tonight, you'll walk outside and go, whoa, I really noticed this. But for the early evening, it's not too bad. 62 tomorrow, so you want to dress warm, and the 7-day forecast has much warmer weather Thursday and into the weekend. Another weaker front Saturday night and Sunday, but it really doesn't cool us off all that much. So jackets and sweaters needed once again overnight.
Steve, thanks as always. Still ahead on First at 4.
Everyone reacts differently. Some people go into a shell when they're in shock, and then other people are more animated.
Find out how one brother's honoring his brother's final wishes by making others happy. And here's what you can expect tonight on Fox 29 at 8. It's Dads, followed by Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Then at 9, New Girl and the Mindy Project. Then Jay Cashmere and Shannon Cake for the Fox 29 10 o'clock news. Business leaders are considering the latest announcement from the mayor of West Palm Beach, Jerry Moyo. The city says it wants to name a Flagler financial district across several blocks in the city. In our text to vote poll, we ask, do you think such a Flagler financial district's a good idea and could bring more business to the area? 100% of you who weighed in our unscientific poll said yes. Thanks for voting in our Fox 29 poll question. A Florida waitress is shocked after receiving a $500 tip. The cash came from a man traveling the country to carry out his brother's final wishes. Seth Collins' brother, Aaron, died suddenly almost 2 years ago. Since then, Seth has been leaving large tips for waiters and waitresses, a request made by his brother in his will. It began with one gift. A video of the encounter went viral, and people began donating so the giving could go on.
I do have a sister that I was just telling Seth about that just passed away recently that was disabled. And the one core thing that she taught me was unconditional love.
This was Seth's last stop on a cross-country trip. What a great effort that was. He's taking a break before beginning all over again.
Bundle up, South Florida. We have a snuggle alert in effect again tonight. It's a roller coaster ride with our temperatures 45 the overnight low, but some 30s inland. Okeechobee, you're going to get a pretty good band of rain coming up in the next half hour with some gusty winds too. And then ahead of that cool front, we'll still see some showers late overnight. 62 tomorrow. That's our daytime high. It will be cold and it will be windy at times, so dress warmly. We're up to 70 on Thursday, and we stay in the 70s through the weekend, early next week. So it's really just a quick blast of cold air, and then we're back to some warmer stuff. Michael.
All right, Steve, thanks as always, and thank you as always for joining us. Extra next, we turn it over to News Channel 5 at 5 for more local news. Have a good evening.
No, then you just know that they're lazy and they did not do it. Yeah, it happens a lot. So this is, I really like this. So we're, you're going to focus from Palm Beach to Indian River. Yeah, and so this will like say an incident right here. And see how you have a camera. You can't use this in your actual traffic report, but it's a good reference to look and see. There's nothing there.
Hi. Okay. All right.
So these are just like good, a lot of times I'll catch things that aren't really, you'll see it here. And sometimes duration points pop up. That means an act, an incident.
Anytime? 3, 2. I'm Steve Wheeler. Another strong cold front on the way for South Florida tonight. We're tracking it. It's moving into Tampa now. Just how cold will it get and how long will it last? I'll let you know at 5.
Exactly 9.5 seconds.
All right. It's scary.
There's about 5 million.
What was that just so?
In white and are expecting up to a foot of snow.
Sherman.
Right now on News Channel 5.
Right now at 5, Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputies are in the process of arresting a 23-year-old man accused of shooting his father. The incident happened at their home along Neal Road in West Palm Beach. A live report is just minutes away.
Right now, a death investigation underway at a home on the Fort Hood Army base. Police found the bodies of a man and 2 children. Officials at that base do not believe there is an active threat at this time.
Just in, the ACLU has sued the state of Utah over the issue of gay marriage. The civil rights organization says the state of Utah put hundreds of gay and lesbian couples in legal limbo, preventing them from getting key protections.
And right now, the much longer than planned journey is almost over for those 52 passengers on board that Russian ship. It got stuck in the Antarctic Sea during the Christmas holiday. They are all about to step off that ship in Tasmania.
Right now, a state of emergency in effect for at least 2 northeast states as a massive storm moves in. That same system bringing colder temperatures our way.
Live team coverage on the storm's impact from ranchers and farmers on the Treasure Coast.
Plus, thousands of flights already canceled. We're live at Palm Beach International Airport with the local impact.
But we begin with Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Steve Whelan. Steve?
Yeah, we're tracking that cold front. It is now just north of Tampa. It's all tied to that major weather system that stretches down the east coast. Now, the front is cutting just around the Big Bend area at this point. There is a low pressure system, that storm that is tracking up into the northeast, and this will sweep across South Florida the next few hours. In fact, later tonight, around midnight or shortly after, we'll get some much colder air. This is where it's really cold up in this area here, moving into Alabama, Mississippi, and the Carolinas, and moving into our area late overnight. Now, there are some pretty big rains ahead of that front. Here's a solid line of rain that's moving in toward the Treasure Coast. So heavy rainfall. Could hear a couple of rumbles of thunder from this. Much quieter in Palm Beach County. A dramatic drop in temperatures overnight into the 30s and 40s. Your full forecast and how long it'll last coming up.
Steve, thanks. Right now, more than 3,000 flights have been canceled. Another 1,000 delayed, all because of that massive winter storm that's moving across and into parts of the Northeast right now. Those cancellations even pouring into tomorrow. The storm affecting flights in and out of Palm Beach International Airport, and that's where we find News Channel 5's Christina Noce tonight. Christina?
Well, if you take a look here, the airport has not been very busy over the last few hours, and that's because many travelers got the message bright and early this morning that most flights, especially to the Northeast, are canceled. Cities like New York are already covered in white and are expecting up to a foot of snow. Right now, about 15 departing flights at this airport are canceled, especially to New York, Baltimore, D.C., and Philadelphia. Many flights are still on schedule to arrive, though, in West Palm, but we are starting to see some delays for flights later this evening, so that could change. Flights coming out of the Fort Lauderdale Airport, seeing much of the same there. About 25 to 30 flights canceled there as well. So what you're really going to want to do today, and as we head into this morning on the board, they already have the morning flights, and there's already some cancellations, especially for New York there, starting at 6 a.m. You're really going to want to be following your airport and your airline on social media like Facebook and Twitter, and to make sure you follow updates on those websites. That's where you're going to be finding the most accurate information. For now, we're live in West Palm Beach. Christina Noce, WPTV News Channel 5.